Welcome back to Bob and Blues. We are doing an auto restoration story, A Girl and Her Car. The girl is Teresa, sitting right to my right,
Hello.
and we're having fun with the XSplit here. We're going to get off of that, and so today we're talking, as you can see, automotive springs.
Springs.
Tell me a little bit about what your car was like prior to this.
Prior to doing the spring job, it sat probably, if I was lucky, 6 inches off the ground. And everybody's like, oh, that's cool. Everybody wants their ride to be lower, better handling and such. Problem is, you can't go over speed bumps. You can't go over a freaking leaf. And yeah.
So,
That's really hard to get in and out of, too.
I rode in your car before we did all this, and before you did all this. I say we. I was not. I didn't get greasy. I've never gotten greasy in your car. I'll be honest. I've never have.
You provided the space for me to work.
I have provided the space for you to work
and the food.
But so when you'd be driving down the road, and I had the honor of riding in your car for a little bit because I had a car problem, and I needed you to ride into work, and you were gracious enough to give me a ride, and
of course,
that was great.
You're welcome.
And thank you so much. And I couldn't help but notice how much the car moved when we went over things like speed bumps,
even little ones.
Even little ones.
Yes.
So it was kind of like your car was doing, here's your wheels, here's your body, and when the wheels went this way, the body went this way, and it was kind of like this kind of action.
Yeah, it went like here's the chassis, here's the body. It's supposed to go like this when it turns. It went like this.
Right. Now you didn't necessarily notice this that much.
You took a corner fast enough, you noticed it.
Right, you weren't noticing it as a typical thing though.
I got used to it.
Okay. That's kind of what it is.
I took corners slower.
Yeah.
That was you just kind of did.
Kind of did. So anyway, so we have up here the picture of the springs. You ordered these in, right?
Yeah, ordered them from I think Jags. Advanced. Advanced, because they had the best prices.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, these are hefty springs.
They are. They are actually V8 springs because eventually I am planning to put a V8 engine into my V6 car. I need V8 springs because a V8 weighs more than a V6. I don't know what the actual number is. And if I put a V8 in with V6 springs, I will bottom out.
Right.
That was kind of the problem with the old suspension is I could bottom out on speed bumps.
Now, a side note I want to pull up here because you've become a bit of an addict with third gens.
Yes.
This isn't the only third gen Firebird you have.
No.
And I only bring this up because you just in case you're thinking she's not for real. This other one is an 88, and we'll get involved in that later on. I mean, this is a continuing saga. I think we have at least 10 more episodes of the show here.
At least.
But what happened was just recently you pulled the V8 that one came with the 305. You pulled that engine with the help of your brother.
Yeah.
Your brother Sam helped you out with that.
Yes.
And you want to send him a text, let him know we're live? I don't know if you want to do that. No, maybe you don't.
We'll tag him later.
Yeah, we'll tag him later.
He's busy.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. But you pulled that engine. It's the first time you ever pulled an engine. Mm-hmm. And he's pulled a few.
He's pulled a few, so
he's known for POS cars.
May not be the best person to go for car advice, but he's had 30 plus vehicles, several of which he has pulled engines out of, so he's better than no help.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give that. He's definitely better than no. And honestly, he has had enough experience. I mean, if you want to do a major project like this, he's not scared of it.
No. No.
You know, he's
He's
definitely
not scared of it.
exactly. So anyway, so I'm going to minimize that so I can kind of monitor this other screen over here a little better. Those are shiny and nice looking.
Yes, they're new.
Yeah. So let's oh my gosh, what do we have here?
That is the rear suspension. That big, giant, long bar going from one side to the other is a panhard bar. Basically keeps your car's rear end from... supposed to keep your car's rear end from doing what mine was doing. You will see in a later picture why it was doing the whole body and chassis trying to go in two different directions. But in order to do the rear springs, which are actually fairly easy, you take a jack and you put it up underneath the rear differential. You disconnect a couple of the rear shocks from inside the cab, and you drop the rear end, and the springs just come out. There is nothing holding those springs on, and the only thing holding the shocks to the rear end is a few decent-sized bolts.
Yeah, at least that's, come on, it's not bad.
Yeah. And actually it was really easy.
Yeah. So that part was pretty easy. I notice right here we have some gunk.
Yeah, don't know what that is yet. Haven't looked at it. It might be different.
Have you checked your gear oil?
I don't know how to. I don't even know if I can.
All right, people, jump on. Tell her how to. There's a way to do it.
It hasn't been a concern, and my rear end and my wheel still spins, so I'm planning on replacing the rear end with a posi at some point anyway. So
anybody want to jump on and
I gotta,
comment that maybe she wants to figure out how to check that?
It's more money.
Anyway, so my wife is calling. Valerie, we're live right now. I can't stop. So, ooh, that's not the way a bolt hole's supposed to look.
No, and that was the bolt that everybody else on the internet, I should have actually taken a picture of the bolt. Everybody else on the internet, the bolt that you saw in the last picture was holding the panhard bar. Yeah.
This bolt right here.
That bolt right there.
Right.
Everybody else ended up having to use a torch or some form of a cutter to cut that bolt off because they couldn't get it off. Thankfully, my boyfriend has more patience than I do, and he can sit there and hold a torch at it for 15 minutes to let the bolt heat up enough to be able to get a pair of vice grips on one side and a air wrench on the other and get it off. But no, that is basically the bolt is creating its oval, which apparently my car likes creating ovals.
Yeah, that's not round.
No, that's not. And it's still not round. I didn't fix it. It kind of
reminds me of the alternator.
Yes.
Anybody remember the alternator?
Yes.
That was a couple episodes ago. And here's a nice little picture. We have
we have the new spring on the left. Remember, again, they're V8 springs. These are rear springs, so they don't really compress that much.
Right.
And then the ones on the right are the ones out of my car are the V6 springs.
Right. Now,
so you got about, if you look at it, maybe half an inch difference in height.
There's also a difference in the metal involved.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I mean, if you get into racing, you'll start talking about, squish squat.
Yeah.
Okay, things like that. And you didn't really concern yourself too much about that at this point in time.
No.
We're not too worried about whether the car, if it squishes back, when you accelerate, how much it goes back.
It does.
And it does. I mean, at this point in time. But you need more acceleration. At some point in time, you're going to want to actually stiffen the back and reduce that some.
Yeah.
You do want some because actually that shifts the weight back.
Yeah.
But so
yeah.
Then you lose all that control in the front.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and here we have. Oh, look at that! One's in place.
They're actually. It's the new springs and the new shocks.
New springs, new shocks.
And nope, didn't do anything with the rear stabilizer links.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, nope, those went in actually pretty easy. You don't really have to index the rear springs. You just got to make sure that the drain holes for them are lined up right. And then, like I said, the rear shocks are easy. There's a giant bolt that goes through in the bottom that connects it to the rear end, and then you find the hole in the top, and you sit there and take a couple things and tighten it up.
Mm-hmm.
That is the old shock. All dirty and grimy, and those are the original shocks on the car.
I see that they're not extended at all.
They're not extended at all.
And so there was nothing left.
No.
Nothing.
It was very fun going over bumps.
Yeah, I remember it was more of a chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk, as you were going over speed bumps.
And railroad tracks.
And railroad tracks. And
made it get air.
And leaves.
Yes, and leaves and everything else.
So this is a neat picture here. So what we have here, this all looks.
That's the sway bar.
That's fine. That looks fine.
That's supposed to. That is our tie rod that I don't know what happened. I don't know why it is like that.
Supposed to be straight?
It's supposed to be a little bit straighter than it is. It's definitely not supposed to have a nice curve to it. There'll be another picture where you can actually see it.
Yeah, I'll be towards the end here.
Yeah.
So, any ideas? I mean, did you hit something?
I've been told that can happen from hitting a curb. I don't hit curbs.
You don't remember hitting a curb?
I don't remember hitting a curb.
Now, you had seen it straighter than this before, so this happened since you bought it, or do you think this happened? It's been original when you bought it.
This is the second time I would have had to replace my tie rods, so I'm assuming the ones the guy put on were straight. I never actually went under there and checked because I trusted my mechanic.
Was this the trusted mechanic or the
This is the trusted mechanic.
Okay, so this is assuming we're...
Yeah. It's pretty safe assuming that he did it right. So I don't know. Hit something.
Neat.
And then that is the new front struts on the bottom and the old front strut on the top. The one on the bottom actually still has the little clip, so it has it because it will come out at you.
And note the pink shoes.
Yes.
Okay? This is a girl. This is Teresa doing this stuff.
Hey.
You know, I mean, she got a little bit of help here and there. We all get a little help in our mechanical work.
Oh yeah.
So
got to try to not kill ourselves.
Actually, kind of moves to the side a little bit because I can see that by this people can't really see, too much of that. Okay, that's fine. We're going to mess up our area behind us here.
Mm-hmm.
So
kick it out.
Yeah. All right. And wow, these are the fronts.
These are the fronts. Now keep in mind, the new ones are for V8s, so they're going to be a little bit bigger. I did not replace stock for stock.
Right.
So they're going to be a little bit bigger. Like there's probably a good 3 to 4 inch difference.
Yeah, that's huge there. I mean, this difference right here from here to here.
Yeah.
And it does show up in the looking at the car later.
It shows up in the height.
It does. And,
you'll see it.
And this doesn't bother you at all. You like it.
No, the first day it was like, oh, I can see my hood.
Yeah.
And then after that it was like, okay.
Yeah. So.
Little side note before we go on to the next one. Got the rear suspension done one weekend. My brother stopped by and we went and took a drive. Mm-hmm. My brother, the guy that's destroyed 30 vehicles in probably 10 years, maybe a little more, this car scared him. He was actually scared to ride in my vehicle.
Well, and here's a note. I mean, since we're talking about this, you noticed suddenly the huge difference between the rear after you did the rear ones, and you drove it.
I was scared to drive it.
And suddenly, this whole shifting thing.
Oh, it was
all in the front.
I thought it was bad with all the suspension being bad. When I fixed the rear end tightened up, which put early shifting into the front of the car.
Right.
It moved left to right, it moved up and down, it moved diagonally. I went over a speed bump, I swear I watched the front end of my car do figure eights. I was legitimately scared to drive this car until the next day off, which was a week away, just so I could get back and forth to work. I was almost going to park it and take the bus.
Yeah, it was.
It was we were driving very, very cautiously.
Yeah. So then you moved on to the fronts.
And I moved on to the front,
And
and
this
again,
is a whole nother adventure.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So
that is lower control arm,
right.
and basically that little hole that you see right there, the spring fits around that and goes up into this little pocket. And if you can see the jack here, essentially first what my plan was is pop the spring in, use the jack to squeeze the spring and pop it up in there.
Sounds lovely.
Yes.
Doesn't work.
Yes. 3 different spring compressors later.
Hey, look at that conglomeration. I've seen this picture before, and every time I look at it, I'm like, and did you die?
Nope. Nobody died. Nobody got hurt. We took our time and we were really careful. And
because this looks scary.
This
is so sketchy.
This is sketchy.
This is real sketchy.
First, we used one of the basically the McPherson strut spring compressors, the ones that have the actual strut through the middle of the spring, so they go on the outside of the springs. And I could only get this, again, V8 springs into a V6 car was probably where I was having problems.
Right.
So I could only get the springs to compress so far. This was my answer to, because when I put it in the hole, I couldn't get the spring compressor off the spring. And rental tools, you gotta have them back. You can't drive around with a spring compressor on your spring and just like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that's a death waiting to happen. Yeah, this was my answer. It almost worked.
So sketch.
It almost worked.
Anybody else done anything like this? I mean, have you ever, it's like I got an idea. Let's try it. This is almost like, hold my beer, watch this.
Keep in mind, I was sober during all of this. This isn't drunken backwards,
This is so redneck.
Yeah. I just was sober doing it. Spring and shocks front in. And if you could see, the tool is actually still in there, but we got it in. Like I said, 3 tools later, finally found the tool that worked. Used an air ratchet on it that you're not supposed to, but the direction can go. This little foot right here was fun because once we got it in, once we got everything hooked up, using the shock to keep the lower control arm from attacking us, and I got punched in the stomach by the shock once. We basically had to undo the nut and kick that little foot out, and then go do the other side.
Cool.
But it's done.
It's done.
It's done. I'm never doing springs again.
Oh, come on.
No.
You do it again. See, now you know. Now you know. I mean, it's like the painful part. The learning section's over.
No.
No?
No. It cost me $150 to have somebody else risk their lives.
And they have all the right tools.
And they have all the right tools.
And this is the other side, I assume? Or
and this, I don't know, I think it's the same side. I just kind of, we...
Got a picture.
Yeah, got a picture. Tools out.
Yep.
Yep. And it works. And it stays.
Yeah, it stays in place.
But the whole time letting down the jack, I'm sitting hiding behind a fender.
I don't blame you. And I mean, it's
when those things come,
when they release.
I've watched them fail with the spring compressors on them.
Yeah. So, and that's a lot of
scary stuff.
Yeah. And so here's what it looks like. Let's scoot off to the side a little bit here. But just because I want to kind of point out this area here.
Yeah.
Okay.
She sits a little high in the front.
Actually, it's a little high in the front and back.
Yeah.
Basically, this is actually where it's supposed to be.
That's where it's supposed to sit in the back.
Remember, these are 14-inch rims.
Yeah. Those are 14-inch tires.
Okay,
they're small.
So, good. We did a good job moving out of the way. See, there's a delay, so I'm kind of, I'm paying attention to that. So, so that's where that's at. Okay, we'll move back in frame here.
It sits a little high in the front, but that's okay. I like it. I can go over speed bumps and not worry.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, you can do that, and then you can climb underneath it better.
Yeah. can actually get under it without sticking a jack under half of it.
Yeah, which is kind of unusual for a Firebird.
Yeah.
In general. Okay, so let's look at this here. This is what we're talking about. We pointed this out before. You see how nice and relatively straight this one is?
That one's straight. That's how they're supposed to look.
See the
that
sway
one's
right
not.
This is not supposed to be there. This sway right here.
There's not supposed to be a curve.
No,
don't know.
This is kind of scary.
Yeah.
How did you do that?
I don't know.
We don't know how you did it.
I don't know.
You hit something hard.
I don't know.
Somebody hit something hard. Maybe, did you loan your car out to somebody who never said what they did?
I don't loan the car out to nobody.
I mean, at least Aaron would always fess up when he did stuff.
Yeah. Steering rack installed, springs, shocks installed.
Yep.
My foot.
Yep. Pink shoe again.
Yep.
And I see you have tires underneath there.
Safety first.
Safety first.
Not to say that 6-ton jack stands are not going to.
Yeah, and I want to point out you are using proper jack stands.
Yeah.
Okay, and you are doing what you can for best practices.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see that you're actually inside of your garage type shed, canvas garage. So.
With the old shock kicked off.
The old shock off to the side there. So I'm off to the side there so people can see, that old shock off to the far right side, which is behind me. So there's that. I mean, it's covered. It's
mostly dry.
Yeah. That's not a bad deal if you can do it.
No.
So what'd you learn off of this?
I'm never doing springs again. I will pay somebody to look around to put springs on my car, and maybe next time. Go with the V6 springs.
Go with the V6 springs
instead
of jump
instead of the V8. I'm gonna actually have to look at that. I know there's God, I forgot the name of the part. It's the thing the front shocks go into. I'm gonna have to replace those.
Okay.
If I didn't have to replace them before, I definitely have to replace them now.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure on the V8s, I'm pretty sure that lower control arm is probably dropped another inch or two to make those springs fit.
Well, and I'm looking at things like, I mean right here, where your engine's is buttoned up to this. I mean, there's a difference in.
There's actually like that much space. The oil pan stops where the cross member is.
Right, and the oil pan then it kind of humps over.
Yeah.
Humps over the cross member. So.
It's not as close as it actually looks.
Okay. All right. So.
But no, as a final note.
Well, I've seen you climb inside there. So.
Yeah. So one of the things I'm going to lose when I put a V8 into it, my space. No, but got all the suspension done. Drove it. Oh, she drives beautifully now. Mm-hmm. Even with sitting up a little high, which I prefer anyway. I can go over bumps and speed bumps and not be like, oh God, is my car going to fall apart?
You don't hear it go ka-chunk anymore?
Yeah, but that's different reasons now.
Oh, okay.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. So, so we finished the suspension. This was a big project, right?
It was. I think it was took full. The back end took. I think actually my car was down for 2 weeks, but that's because we decided to do the gas tank removal and redo that in between, and then this one took about a weekend. So if you got a full weekend and you have the right tools, you can do your entire suspension like nothing, and go ahead and clean out the gas tank while you're at it. Don't cut the trap door.
Okay, yeah. There's actually in this one's case, most of the time actually.
Yeah.
You're better off just
doing it the right way.
Do it the right way.
Do it the right way.
So this project's done. What was your next thing that you did? What were we going to talk about next? Do you think? Do you have any idea? Remember?
I think next was sanding and painting.
So we start the body work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta go look at my pictures because there might be something else that got stuck in between that.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like this anymore.
It doesn't look like this anymore.
No, it doesn't. I mean, there's I mean, there's aspects that are still there. Like, I mean, this
Yeah,
you already know you're replacing this quarter panel. No matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah. That quarter panel, that door might get replaced.
Yeah, that door.
You can't really see it, but there is a rust hole.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. Somebody tried to Bondo it and didn't know what they were doing.
And I mean, you have new seats in there now.
Mm.
You just moved the interior from the 88 over to here, so interior looks better, even though you don't like the red.
Yeah.
There's some things that have also happened that she's worked on. She needs door seals. She needs this. She needs that. This is a project car.
It's a project driver car.
Exactly. So, anyway, so next episode we're going to be talking about some body work,
we got to try our hand at Bondo.
At Bondo, and sanding, and painting, and primer.
Yes.
And this was not a 1 weekend worth of work.
This was. You heard the term month of Sundays. This was 10 months of every day after work.
It's an experience. This became an obsession. So,
became? I think it already was.
Yeah, it really was. So, anyway, I want to thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
And, we'll